Yeah. Okay, we're recording. So I'll just kind of pass it off to Jeff. He's been a member of the New Jersey Affiliate Committee for a long time and was previously the president of the New Jersey chapter back in the day. And he's offered to do this knowledge sharing on an experience he had at his firm at KRF when they put an After Effects video together. So thanks, Jeff, for doing this knowledge sharing for us.
Thanks, Christy. I appreciate everyone joining and hearing this little story about how we use Adobe After Effects to do a really low cost and high impact video for the firm. I am going to share the video and I'm going to try very hard to allow you to hear the sound. It's going to be through speakerphone on my phone, running off my laptop, so it might be a little choppy, but bear with it. The video itself is about 2.5 minutes, and then we're going to start talking about the marketing plan, the production, the delivery, and the promotional aspect of getting this video out there, and then of course what some of the results were for the firm. So bear with me for a moment. I'm going to go on here. And let's watch the video. So I hope that came through well enough. Let's get back to the presentation here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we saw and how we came about getting it together. Okay. Christy, is everyone still with me? So on the objective side, why were we producing a new video? We had two major reveals last year that we were mobilizing for. On the one hand, we were rolling out a new website, and we really needed more dynamic content for that website. AQRF in the last couple of years had done a couple of videos. One was really good, maybe one was so-so. And while we had invested time and money in new headshots, new personable headshots, and of course rolling out a new website is elevated design and elevated brand in and of itself, we really wanted more dynamic content for different storytelling techniques on our website. So that was first and foremost, and that's why in the middle of last year, we were exploring what kind of videos we wanted to run to get them onto the website by the end of the year. The second reveal was going to be the expansion of our office space. In New York City, we have 3 floors across 2 office buildings that are adjacent. That's our headquarters. And we took out about 2,500 square feet of new space on a 4th floor. It happened to be the 9th floor of one of the buildings to build an audio simulation center. The 2,500 square feet was going to encapsulate a whole video conferencing hub for the firm. It would have an audio simulation room, 2 huddle rooms, some separate office space, and kind of an exhibition lobby area. And we had a video wall positioned in the exhibition area and in the hallway leading down to the audio simulation room that was going to need dynamic content as well. And I'm going to show you some photo sims of that later on. So we knew that this audio simulation room would benefit from increased awareness of our firm's acoustical consulting practice, which led us to the obvious conclusion that the first video we would produce for the website and for the audio simulation room build out on the 9th floor should be about our acoustics practice. Now that audio simulation room is really important. Architects have the ability to produce renderings to show clients what the space or the building will look like once it's built. We can't really show what something will sound like. So instead of visualizing it, we help clients audiolize it. We run audio simulations in a highly engineered room to help them make really multi-million-dollar decisions about how their building or space will sound through different facade treatments, different window treatments. So this was going to be a revenue producing space for us and really needed a welcoming video about the acoustics practice as clients came into that lobby exhibition area before they went into the audio simulation room for their project. So we had already been soliciting proposals from videographers around the same time for a completely different project. AKRF 10 years ago, our archaeologists discovered the remains of a ship during the reconstruction of the World Trade Center, for which we were providing cultural resources monitoring. And this summer will be the 10th anniversary, and an opportunity to kind of tell our version of the story using our own visual assets, both photo and video. So we were already soliciting bids from videographers, and we were getting bids anywhere from 7,000 or 8,000 to 15,000. I think one videographer proposed 22,000 for a video series. And Christy might even remember, she and I were talking about videographers around the same time. And we had budgeted for that for last year, $10,000 for videography. And with all the storytelling needs we were going to have on the website, it was foolhardy to think that we were going to spend 7 or 8 or more $1,000 on this one video for acoustics. So at the same time as we met with 3 or 4 videographers, I think it was, and we were talking about the proposals, I was already online looking for other solutions for storytelling in a visual medium. And I remembered that in January of last year, I saw Cambridge Systematics did a very small type of animation as they were promoting some of their speaker engagements for the TRB annual meeting, which is in Washington, D.C. every January. And I was looking around for that online to see if I could find it again. And I came across some other kind of non-traditional videos by other firms. I think I saw one from HNTB about benefits, employee benefits, and there was definitely one from Perkins and Will, which kind of really opened up my eyes to the possibility that we can create beautiful and dynamic content visually without costly video footage. So I set my graphics team off on this kind of wild goose chase to figure out what these firms were using, what software they were using, and whether we'd be able to accomplish something similar. The graphics team came back and said they are either using Adobe After Effects for this video content, or they should be. And we looked into Adobe After Effects because we, of course, from a graphic design standpoint, are all using the Adobe suite at AKRF, InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, and beyond. And the graphics team thought that they could take on the challenge of learning a new software package from scratch and producing a really high-end video by the end of the year for the website and for the video walls that are going to be in our new space on the 9th floor. So as Sasha, she was our graphic designer, so as Sasha Zineva was kind of running off to learn Adobe After Effects, our planning for this video went into immediate overdrive. We were learning a new system from scratch and really had to develop video content by the end of the year. And whereas a traditional video might take 2-3 months, it could take a little bit less if you're working quickly with a vendor, for planning and design, shooting the video and producing it, we had no idea what it would take. And it really took a lot longer than we thought it would. but fortunately, we're working with an in-house writer, myself, and an in-house graphic designer, and Sasha. We were able to collaborate in a very effective way. So the marketing plan was developed specifically for this video. We had a theme. I think at the time I was watching a bunch of 30 for 30 ESPN documentaries, and I was thinking, oh, it would be really cool if AQRF did kind of like a 4 for 40 or a 40 for 40, because next year is our 40th anniversary. Our building is 440 Park Avenue South. We have 4 founders, but it just sounded way too contrived, and it actually sounds a lot worse as I say it now. So I went back to a very simple marketing construct that I've used often in the last few years, which is people, places, and projects. I really try hard that when we're thinking about our communications, our marketing work, even our business development goals, we think about people, places, and projects, and it seemed like a really neat construct to use for this video as well. So as I was collecting photo assets, different project photography and people photography that I knew would be used in this video, Sasha and I were already kind of scripting out this video as people, places, and projects, and the order in which we did it, as you see here in the first bullet, was geography, typology, people. I know we just saw the video, but some of it kind of starts with a map of where we've worked across the country, and it goes through different cities with fly-throughs. We talk about project typology, and then we talk about the people that we have and, you know, encouraging people to connect with us. So the design of this video in Adobe After Effects is very much like a film. It even uses a lot of the same terminology. We're talking about shots, camera angles. It's almost like being a director or being a director of photography on a major film. And actually, if you look into Adobe After Effects, it is used on a lot of the trailers we see, the credit screens we see, and other visual effects within major motion pictures. This is not one of them, but we still had to design it in that way. So we designed it in very small steps. We built the title screen. We moved on to the geography portion. We started doing the typology portion one at a time. And actually, I created a construct, like an alliterative construct for the way we were going to talk about our project, like labs to libraries, parks to pools. You may have seen schools to skyscrapers. And that added kind of another dimension for the design work that Sasha was going to have to do in Adobe After Effects. The camera angle that we use on the city by city shot is flying through the letters. So you're flying through New York City to get to San Francisco, and through San Francisco to get to New Orleans. With the project, Sasha had to come up with, it's almost a mathematical or geometry, a geometric formula to be able to move the camera from one type of project to another on diagonals only. So you never passed through a shot you had seen in order to get to a new one. So this construct that I gave her, labs to libraries, created another level of complexity. What's really important for the film is the soundtrack. And I don't know how well it came through in this particular presentation. I'm happy to share a link with everyone afterwards. But Sasha designs the shots by the beat. And we know how important soundtracks are to movies as well. So she's going beat by beat, and she's fiddling with the audio, with the soundtrack to make sure that it really matches kind of the different parts of the movie as we pass through it. And it's funny, we actually did call it a movie for a long time before finally settling on motion graphics video to best describe what we were producing. So the soundtrack we downloaded from Premium Beat. It's $49, which is amazing. I'm going to talk about cost later, but the soundtrack was really important. So Sasha went through like 100 different possible soundtracks. She sent me 12 to choose from, and we finally picked this one, Moving Beat, which is great. We wanted something kind of uplifting and enthusiastic and would really propel people through the video. So, you know, the workflow and completion, we designed and reviewed the video. Sasha and I, like I said, because we're both in-house, we were able to work really well together. She happens to be off-site. She happens to work remotely most of the time. She's in the office like 2 days a week. But that gave us a great opportunity to work closely together in person. So I could literally look over her shoulder as she's showing me different things to review. And when she was remote, she either sent me links to review or we were just chatting. We use Google Hangouts at AQRF, just chatting about different things that we were seeing. She needed me to find a better photo with a different angle, or I needed her to take text I wrote and figure out if it would fit or not. It was a real collaborative effort, and it took a long time, but it was well worth the effort. We eventually screened the film for the company. We got a really flattering ovation at the end. It was really amazing. Lots of anecdotal praise came back to us, feedback from within the firm, so much so that people who had been talking about doing traditional video projects to tell stories of different projects or things that they were working on immediately asked us if we can get them into kind of the pipeline, the Adobe After Effects videos that we were planning. And we do now have a pipeline of about 7 or 8 different videos that we've committed to producing using that software, which is amazing. So the marketing plan that we had for traditional video is no different than the motion graphics video. We were targeting architects, developers, and others who hire us for our acoustics, noise, and vibration practice. We emailed about 1,700 people, which is just a segment of our mailing list. We shared it across 4 social media platforms. We primarily use LinkedIn at AQRF. That's where we've invested most of our time and effort. We have a secondary platform on Instagram, which we just started a couple of years ago. Twitter, we don't use so much, and Facebook, we really only have because there's a couple of clients who keep tagging us in it, and we wanted to make sure that we're tagging the right company. Also, this nice little coincidence of 2020 being branded the International Year of Sound was really cool, and we only caught on to that toward the end of last year as we started getting ready to really finalize the video. So when we did promote it in an e-blast and social media, we were able to do so with the hashtag IYS2020 for the International Year of Sound to attract an even broader audience than we had initially prepared on finding. We're very happy with the results from the promotional campaign and the results from having this video out there. We know it improved visibility for the acoustics practice. We have anecdotal evidence, feedback from clients and colleagues in the industry who had seen the video and commented back to us about how much they enjoyed it. From a metric standpoint, 1,300 impressions, 40 reactions on social media, very much in line with the kind of stuff that we typically put out. We're not a large firm, so we have a somewhat limited audience. Of course, things get amplified as more people like and share things. A lot of employees in the company shared the video. Some other people did as well. So it really helped generate a larger audience for the video as well. We had a 12% e-blast open rate, which is higher than we've had on other e-blasts that we've sent out. The most important metric of all, we spent $500. So we were looking at videography proposals of $7,000 and up. We spent $500 on this video, and the next one will actually be less than that. $49 for the soundtrack, if I remember correctly. Sasha bought an external hard drive. I didn't really get into the technical challenges she faced, but we did have, Mac versus PC compatibility issues. We use primarily Google Drive at AQRF, but we do have network folders. She's remote, so she already has a challenge of moving things back and forth. So there's all sorts of tech challenges. So she bought an external hard drive, which was really valuable. I think she got an extra large monitor as well to really be able to render these videos. She's really zooming in on minute details in each of the frames. But $500, I mean, it's an amazing return on investment we have, especially knowing that this is going to be a feature film, if you would, in the exhibition space of our new audio simulation room. So here's the photo simulation of the exhibition or lobby area heading into our audio simulation space. That's the only part that's being simulated there is the video on the monitor, which the monitors are still being commissioned, or they were as of about a month ago before we closed the office. We have a really cool preserved moss border around 3 vertically oriented video monitors and kind of like this wave-like wall treatment as well. It's all meant to evoke kind of the environmental DNA, the environmental background of the firm. And then in addition to that, we also have this hallway, a long hallway that heads down to the audio simulation room. And on it, we have 3 horizontally oriented video monitors for which Sasha has, in the meantime, been designing smaller soundless videos in Adobe After Effects, focusing on different projects or project types that we're working on. I think I hyperlinked this so we can check that one out. There's nothing here, so it's just going to be video. I'll just let it run for about 25 or 30 seconds so you can get a sense for it. So all told, in terms of next steps, we have these shorter videos being designed for the hallway display that you just saw. We're in the process of scripting that World Trade Center ship video that I talked about. And Sasha requested, and we happily agreed, to fund a 14-week training course in Adobe After Effects. So we're really proud of the video that I showed you, the video we did. But looking at it now, knowing what we know now, we know how much better it can be. And we have really high hopes for our future videos. It was a great first step, but we know that there's so much more we can accomplish using Adobe After Effects. So even with that video, there may be certain elements that we want to keep, even just from a branding consistency standpoint, maybe the title screen, for example, going forward with other videos we do. But Sasha's learning all sorts of new tools and tips within Adobe After Effects from a rendering standpoint, a design standpoint, and even how to work with the soundtrack in very different ways. So that's kind of it. That's my story about Adobe After Effects. We're really excited about it. I love the fact that we produced a video for $500, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that people might have.
Thanks, Jeff. That was great. I liked the examples. Monica asked a question, and I kind of was thinking the same thing. You mentioned the expenses for the video were around $500, but like, did you guys track like how many hours it took for people to like work on this project? And I know it was like the first time using the software and going through this process, so I'm sure it's not necessarily the baseline, but like just to give an idea of the level of effort labor-wise.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll be honest, we have no idea how much labor was expended on the first video. I mean, Sasha was training as she's really like building, it's like literally opening up a software for the first time. So there's so much training and self-training being built into it, we didn't even track it. Now, with the new one, with the World Trade Center ship one, we are going to. So that way we can help our internal clients, our internal departments understand what it really takes to produce a video for them, how much it's going to cost, and then we could also compare it to what we would ordinarily pay for either a traditional video or to have an external graphic design consultant prepare these for us. It does take one person, Sasha, offline for a couple of months to produce it. Fortunately, at ACREF, we have a really strong graphic design department. I think we have 4 full-time people now. But you know, as the firm grows, it may be harder to commit her to only doing Adobe videos. So we are going to start tracking labor going forward.
Yeah, and would you think, like if we had to like outsource, if we didn't have like an in-house designer or video person, if we had to outsource it to someone who knows After Effects, that would still probably be cheaper than doing a videography assignment, right? If you're outsourcing a motion graphics versus a complete video project, or would you say it's about the same still?
I think it's tricky because once you outsource, you're already adding a lot of cost to the project. And frankly, with the amount of work that I saw Sasha put into using Adobe After Effects for this video, I don't think it's going to be that different from a videographer having a 2-day shoot, let's say on-site and in-office interviews or something to that effect. I'll actually be really interested to hear back from some of you if you do decide to invest in Adobe After Effects. You know, maybe we have a smaller group come together and start comparing what some of those costs might be. But it's a tremendous amount of work. I think with every video, you get better and better at it, and the time it takes and the cost that's invested in it comes down. But some of these early videos are going to be quite costly for us in terms of labor. But again, she's in-house. We were paying for her anyway. It's merely a decision for us as marketing leaders whether we want to allocate her time to this project or something else.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Love it. Nice job.
Yay. Great job. I
Very
did have
nice.
a question,
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Nice to see you. It's nice to see everybody.
You too.
I'm curious about the learning curve on, you know, I think for them, I may be speaking for just myself, but some of us do have some of a bit of a graphic design experience or background. Like how did she find the learning curve on using Adobe After Effects? I mean, was it easy for her because she is a graphic designer and she's heavy into it, or like would like a regular marketing person be able to, who had a bit of a like graphic design background, that's familiar with Adobe, Photoshop, and Illustrator?
It's a hefty learning curve.
Yeah.
It took her a lot of time to figure out how to use the tools. I mean, she might have spent an entire day, she told me at times just on one little tool, like 5 seconds of the video. Now, once she started getting the hang of something, it progressed to get easier later on in the video, such that the part she did at the end with the people and the connect with us took her far less time than even the title screen did. But she really built it shot by shot like a movie producer, like a film director. So she storyboarded it and really had a sense for how it would come together, which helped her focus her training on the different elements that would be important early on. So she really didn't waste any time learning things that she didn't need. She knew, because of my outline, because of the script, she had a really good sense for where this video was going, which helped her really focus her efforts on the parts of Adobe After Effects that she would need. Now going forward, the World Trade Center ship video, other videos we want to do, maybe our anniversary next year, they could take on a whole different type of story structure, in which case she would have to go back and learn new things. So it is a steep learning curve. I'm not going to make it sound like it was really easy. Because she's a graphic designer and has kind of a visual appreciation for the storytelling narrative, I think that made it easier for her to get into Adobe After Effects than maybe it would have for someone like me.
Okay. Thank you.
I see Monica's question. How many people reviewed the video and had opinions and wanted edits? And how did you deal with that? You know, first of all, Monica, I have to say this was so easy from a review standpoint. And I understand that's going to change from department to department or firm to firm. But our acoustics director, Benjamin, the only thing we ran by him at first was the outline. We sold him on the Adobe After Effects. He was very happy that he wasn't going to be spending thousands of dollars on the video, but he was nervous. You know, we had a big need for this video. But once we ran the script and the outline and the storyboard by him, he said, okay, go do what you need to do. And we only came back to him with kind of individual shots that we wanted to show him, just to show him the progress and to kind of get him excited about the design, because we were really excited and we knew he would be as well. And then at the end, you know, he watched it a few times. He had a few thoughts that we had to go back and change some things, but it wasn't in the storytelling structure so much as, hey, can you switch this person for that person or this project for that project? So he really bought into the idea of doing an Adobe After Effects video very quickly, and didn't kind of get into the weeds with us on the design stuff. So we were very fortunate, but realistically that could change on the next video if we have a more overbearing, lack of a better word, you know, person in the review process with us.
Does anybody else have other questions? There's one from Brooke. Yeah, no, it's like in your eyes. Feel free
I'll
to
figure that out.
move again.
I'll figure it out after.
Brooke had a question. Were you concerned about branding or not so much, since this was the first one?
Well, I mean, this is going to sound terrible from a marketer, but I wasn't that concerned about branding. I knew that it was going to be special and it needed to be special. And I knew that I was going to have the freedom within the company to really go off in a different direction. We still used our logo, but we gave it a very different treatment than we ever have in the past in terms of the environment around it. And frankly, ACRIF needed this. You know, we've done a lot of like beige and blues and gray things. We still had an old website when we were producing this video. We knew it was going to be an important part of the new website, but we didn't know what the new website would look like. ACRIF needed this. We needed something fresh to look at to help break us out of what was a bit of an old school visual box. So I wasn't that concerned about branding in the sense that I had it to be consistent with something. I was more concerned about branding in terms of doing something really visually compelling and changing the conversation about what our visual look could be within the firm.
Yeah, it kind of takes your branding to like the next level when you have to like put it in motion. Right.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Has anyone else done a motion graphics video or is planning on it now that we've talked about it?
I haven't, but I'm so antsy to open After Effects and see what sort of havoc I can raise. You have no idea. That was such a cool video, Jeff.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Agree, Jeff. That was awesome, and I'm curious now too. I want to go in there and peek.
It's really a great program. I'm a big supporter of it, and I definitely encourage people to try it out or just try out anything new. I mean, that's one of the most important things we could do as marketers within our firms is expand really the horizons of what people think we're capable of. So this was an eye-opener for our firm. I think that's why it got such a flattering response from the staff at the monthly staff meeting. I think it was in January. And now, like I said, we've got people asking for it, clamoring for it. And anytime you have people that come to marketing that want something other than a proposal or a resume, I think we're doing a good job.
Great. Well, if there aren't any other questions, thanks so much, Jeff, for sharing your knowledge with us. I'm going to stop the recording now.